Old friends are like old memories. They always remind you of your past, and we are reminding ourselves of the past episodes from this week of Good Company for the Best of Good Company with me, Hollie Taylor. I'm Hollie Taylor, and I think we can all agree that there's a lot of people dealing with all kinds of insecurities, food insecurities, housing insecurities, financial insecurities. It just seems like a lot of people are very worried and stressed when it comes to financial. Actually, one of our main banks have listed some of the top 3 things that are concerning Canadians. There's their top fraud concerns, home ownership concerns, habit concerns, but also just in general, the top concerns would be just balancing today's expenses versus building savings. Yes. About 77% of Canadians concerned about this, 64% concerned about cash flow, and 48% are anxious about their financial future. So maybe some of this rings true for you as well. Some of the ways to tackle the concerns would be to change some of the habits that we have when it comes to making our financial decisions, utilizing different kinds of budget apps. So I'm curious, how do you manage having financial concerns? What are some of the practical things that you've done to help balance out the reality versus the future that you want to have? You can text in 905-338-1250, and I'll have some tips for you as well. Just seems to be one of those top conversations. A lot of people also concerned about mortgages and the interest rates and home ownership. Also fraud. 89% of Canadians are really concerned about AI and how it can make us more vulnerable to fraud. We've seen a lot of very smart scams. 88%, so really close, of Canadians are concerned with how the scams are going to make it harder to determine what's real and what's fake. And then, of course, just the different kinds of phone fraud attempts are harder to detect. So 81% of Canadians concerned about that. So yes, there's the concerns, but what are we doing to try to alleviate some of those concerns? And so I think one of the key things that I have discovered is that we aren't alone. So whether you've got the concerns or you've got some answers, we can all come together and support each other. Let's take a text message. How are you navigating your concerns versus being able to stay on top? And I love this. This is from Steve. You can text in 905-338-1250. He says, Hollie, first things first, it all starts with prayer. From there, we just do our best to make smart money decisions. Absolutely. The Bible is a great place to start. There's a lot of great faith-based financial programs to take. And I think knowledge is the one thing that can help us feel a little bit less stressed. Rita texts in. She says, with my husband, I feel like we could tackle anything. It has been tough, but we have just really hunkered down to the old way of thinking, and we've been budgeting more and more, and it's working well. So we're budgeting, we're being more cognizant of where those cents are going, and it's actually making people feel freer. I'm Hollie Taylor here for Joy Radio, and we're talking about some of those creative solutions that we've come up with thanks to some creative thinking. I mean, here in our line of work, I feel like we come up with creative solutions all the time. I remember having to figure out how to broadcast live when our studios petered out. But it was kind of exhilarating finding a way to still do your job even when some of your equipment's not working. And it was creative. It really was. Ways to be able to, I guess, foster a environment for creative thinking, even for us as adults. They say get a hobby. It helps you exercise your brain. You're having fun. It just provides relief from work stress. And when you can alleviate the stress, your brain can start being creative again. Also, relax your assumptions. I'm sure we've all heard about, what happens when you assume. And so if you can try to put the assumptions aside, you're able to think a little more clearly. So What is something that you've come up with a creative solution for? And I think a lot of us can relate to Heather. 905-338-1250 is the number to text. She said, having kids, trying to figure out how to get them to and fro all over the place was an exercise in creative thinking. I'm happy to say they survived their teen years. Yes. Sometimes you're just calling Peter and Gloria to pick up John and Jimmy and trying to create that schedule. It can be a creative little bit of chaos, we'll say. I'm Hollie Taylor. We're talking about working out. And I know I'm not trying to shame anybody or make anyone feel bad, because honestly, for me to work out takes a full day of mental work. I'm gonna do this. I gotta pump myself up just to work out. So if that's something that you can relate to, you're not alone. I know somebody who works out pretty regularly, and they've made some very big changes in their lifestyle. The guy across the table from me, producer Mike.
Oh, you're too kind.
Yeah, I'm impressed though.
Thank you.
Because when I met you, you're like, I should work out. It's good for my mental health.
No, I'm like, I work out.
Yeah.
It's a little more snobby now.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I worked out. When's the last time you worked out, Hollie? Just kidding. He's never said that to me. How often do you work out?
Twice a week.
Yeah. Okay.
I should probably go a third day a week.
Yeah.
I've been trying to incorporate that into my schedule for the longest time. It's
tough.
I got to elbow it in there.
Yeah. Well, we're cheering you on.
Thank you.
That's a big feat to figure out how to work these kinds of things into your life, because they're good for you, which means sometimes it's harder to do, which is weird. Why is eating candy so much easier than eating salad?
Why is that?
Right? Why? I mean, sugar is something that is addictive, so that's probably part of the reason.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a nutritionist somewhere listening to us going, no, stop.
You're not like, ooh, I need some lettuce. Oh, man. Okay, let's go to the text line. 905-338-1250. Sam says he works out 5 days a week. Wow. Every morning, wakes up, goes for a jog. Love it. But if you're like me and have bad knees, what do you do? Well, I got an answer for you from Lisa. She swims twice a week. So there you go. There's lots of ways to be able to be active, but it's really cool that it actually impacts the size of your brain. So producer Mike, you're getting a large brain.
I'm smart.
In our house, as the mom, I'm generally the one who finds things for people when they lose them. But my daughter actually found something. She has been looking for her glasses for about 2 months. She has 2 pairs, so she was just wearing the pink ones and didn't say anything. This morning, she came running down the stairs. Mom, I found my glasses, the blue ones. And I was like, what do you mean? They weren't lost. They were in the drawer upstairs in the bathroom. She's like, oh, that's where I found them. But lost and found things. I mean, sometimes I find items in the strangest places. And I'm like, kids, why is this here? It doesn't make sense. And then they say, Mom, you put it there. I'm like, oh, whoops, my mistake. So we're going to talk about some of those items that you have found after they've been lost. After I discovered a lovely story of a individual who lost their grad ring years and years and years ago, just off the coast of Bermuda. It was Alex Davis who was the free diver and happened to find the ring that belonged to Mr. Pregos. And so he was able to return it after years and years and years of it just being there in the water. It's amazing that it was found, to be honest. I lost my grad ring years ago, and I don't know if I lost it or if it was stolen. I took it off at the gym and never found it again. So I'm thinking it probably got stolen, but yeah, I loved that little ring. It was my grad ring, and it was given to me by my mom, grandma, and my auntie. So that one hurt. But in this case, at least it has a happy ending. So have you lost something that you found? Would love to hear your stories. I'm Hollie Taylor, and I saw a recent study about people who have watched either a movie about World War I or a documentary versus those of us who have actually met someone who participated in World War I. With the last World War I vet dying back in, 2011, I believe? Frank Buckles. And so the majority of people now have never met someone who served in World War I, which is why Remembrance Day is so important. That was a huge turning point in our country's history. I love the stories of where, we went in as fighting with Britain and we came out essentially with our own sense of identity. So it's a very important war for people to study and to learn about. And then World War II, those vets are slowly passing. And so if you have someone in your family who served, if they are willing and open to talking about it, because there was a lot of things they saw, having an opportunity to write down their stories so that the next generation can know what was experienced is really important. And so that's the beauty of the story. It keeps the memories alive and it keeps us connected to these moments that I pray we learn from instead of repeating. So as we get closer and closer to Remembrance Day, maybe get a moment just to ask the questions. They may not want to share if they participated in the wars directly. It might be a little traumatizing, but I don't know. It's worth the shot. There's a lot of things I wish I asked my grandmother, and I didn't. So let's take that moment to keep the memories alive so we don't repeat history. Well, that's a wrap. Those are our favorite memories from this past week. Join me for more Good Company live every weekday from 4:30 till 6 p.m. here on Joy Radio. Oh, and don't forget, you can also catch up by subscribing to our Joy Radio podcast. If you'd like to join in on the conversation, text 905-338-1250. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on Monday.